A pleasure to meet all at last. Welcome back once again to I Found It First, Season 3. Now, it's about time that we get to talk a bit more about Wisconsin and Southern, a Class II railroad first inaugurated and established in 1980, the same year that Rock Island went bankrupt, the same year that other older railroads such as Milwaukee Road and Soo Line were beginning to run out of steam, and even well into an age where diesel engines were around. Wisconsin and Southern was established as a means to grab a hold of whatever was left of various older railroads that ran throughout the state of Wisconsin, select parts of other states such as a bit of Michigan and a bit of Illinois, and even, supposedly, they plan on going as far to the west towards Iowa. But it does seem that by this point, Wisconsin and Southern probably is at its maximum as it currently stands. Headquartered in Horicon, Wisconsin, this Class II railroad still has a lot to work with. I mean, there's a ton of old trackage that dates back a long time ago, when such older railroads, like the ones previously mentioned, once had ownership of. Even Chicago Northwestern had some trackage in the area as well, plus older railroads that, unfortunately, no longer exist. But it still is important to note that Wisconsin and Southern has had a lot of inclusion on this channel just as well, with Canadian National, CPKC, Amtrak, Union Pacific, and others here and there. I feel like it's about time to showcase one major example of Wisconsin and Southern that I had gotten more recently. And well, in early May 2025, I was able to catch a consist heading southbound towards Pewaukee. Yeah, if you hadn't noticed, the second clip that I had put in, which showcased a bunch of military vehicles, it's a common setting for Wisconsin and Southern to not only ship a lot of the same old sort of stuff as Canadian National, CSX, Norfolk Southern, and many others, but one major thing that Wisconsin and Southern does that distinguishes it apart from many others is how they carry military vehicles to various places all over the state, especially towards the Milwaukee area, where there's a lot of militarized zones. And it sure is a unique sight. If you're able to catch a hold of a consist of WSOR where they contain military trucks, pickups, other such equipment, then definitely get your cameras out and have the whole thing recorded, because it is quite a sight to see. And it's also pretty uncommon. Well, one thing's for certain though, WSOR is probably at its all-time high, because while it does share a lot of trackage with other Class 1 railroads, including the CN Waukesha subdivision, in which that's exactly where this train was going down, towards Pewaukee. The very same Pewaukee that Canadian National themselves has a lot of mileage to cover just as well, towards Antioch, Illinois, where the southernmost end of the Waukesha subdivision ends. And well, it's clear by now that WSOR, much like CN, still does maintain a good partnership and cooperation with CN and possibly other Class 1 railroads, because I'm sure someday they might also be able to work with others in the area as well, like Union Pacific and CPKC, probably even Amtrak. It would be nice to have WSOR related equipment around for historical preservation, considering the fact that these were once Milwaukee Road, Rock Island, Chicago Northwestern, Soo Line trackage. WSOR is basically one of the only remnants in the Midwest that is keeping a hold of such old history in railroading, whether it be Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Iowa, possibly other states. That is if WSOR plans to cover more ground than it already has. Either way you look at it though, it still is an amazing Class 2 railroad. Probably more so than many others out there. In any case though, that's pretty much it for this piece. I will probably have a couple more though for funsies, and then I'll get back to the more pressing matters when it comes to I Found It First related content, such as the more older mementos that I Found It First was originally grounded on. So stay tuned for tomorrow, and I'll see you guys then.